The physical security wall separating Israel and Lebanon is currently the backdrop for a failing ceasefire. Despite formal agreements, Hezbollah continues to launch rocket and drone attacks across this arid terrain. Attempts to cool these regional proxy conflicts through diplomacy have hit a wall. High-level talks scheduled in Islamabad were recently canceled, leaving both sides empty-handed and dug in. These strikes are fueled by a broader strategic deadlock currently freezing relations between Washington and Tehran. The border friction functions as a pressure valve in a high-stakes test of wills between the two capitals. Inside Iran, the leadership of the Revolutionary Guard is calling the shots. They are driving a highly uncompromising strategy, convinced that time is on their side. On the other side, the United States, under the current administration, has adopted an equally aggressive, unyielding posture, refusing to budge on its core demands. Because both sides genuinely believe they hold the leverage, a dangerous vacuum has formed. Neither is willing to compromise, pushing the entire Middle East closer to a major military escalation. The Revolutionary Guard believes they are winning because they are weaponizing time. They have a high tolerance for domestic pain and feel no hesitation in suppressing their own public, convinced they can simply outlast American economic pressure. The Strait of Hormuz is the geographical choke point of the Iranian strategy. Disrupting maritime traffic through this narrow passage denies them export revenue, but the economic math favors them. It inflicts vastly disproportionate damage on the global oil economy. The Guard's confidence in this tactic was reinforced recently when the U.S. temporarily allowed Iranian oil exports to continue for several weeks. To Tehran, this signaled that Washington was deeply anxious about rising oil prices, reinforcing their belief in their own upper hand. Now, Iran translates that geographic threat into a diplomatic shield. They are using the blockade of the strait as a strict precondition, refusing to sit down for talks until the United States drops its economic pressure. The primary weapon the U.S. brings to this standoff is a severe economic blockade, carefully designed to starve the Iranian regime of essential revenue. Washington's stance relies on absolute conditions. First, Iran must completely surrender its ability to unilaterally control access to the Strait of Hormuz. The second, far more dangerous barrier to any agreement is Iran's retained nuclear stockpile. Iran currently holds 440 kilograms of highly enriched uranium, processed to 60% purity, alongside nearly 200 kilograms of lower enriched material. Notice the 20% mark. In nuclear science, this is the critical threshold separating low-enriched from weapons-capable uranium. While recent regional strikes have left much of this physical material buried under rubble, it is entirely recoverable. As long as Iran possesses it, they retain an active option to build a nuclear weapon. From the American perspective, the conflict cannot end as long as Iran retains either the physical components for a nuclear bomb or the military capability to choke off international shipping. Given these rigid opposing demands, are there actual formulas to negotiate a peace deal without sparking a full-scale war? There is a precedent for solving the nuclear issue. A deal could involve a phased, internationally supervised removal of the highly enriched uranium out of the country. This mirrors the framework of the JCPOA, where Russia took possession of the bulk of the material. Alternatively, the stockpile could be chemically diluted back below that critical 20% threshold. The flaw here is that the dilution process can easily be reversed if the regime changes its mind. As for the waterway conflict, the legal status of the Strait of Hormuz is clear. Unlike the man-made sovereign passages of the Suez or Panama Canals, the strait is strictly an international waterway. A diplomatic off-ramp would require establishing a strict international regime responsible for preserving open access, legally stripping Iran of its unilateral control over the traffic. These structural solutions are available, yet the geopolitical deadlock persists. Until one side is willing to blink and concede on these core conditions, the entire region remains suspended, one misstep away from total escalation.